How's it going, duelists? It is time for a market watch. Now, today's market watch, we're going to be going over some cards with support that has actually already been announced, as well as support that we're expecting to be announced coming out soon. So let's get right into the market watch. And the first one on today's watch is Performer Pal 5 Rainbow Magician. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel or been checking out some of our most recent videos, you will know we are a big fan of 5 Rainbow Magician, super excited and hoping to see it be played in the future meta game. We've actually been calling it the new Mystic Mind due to its pendulum ability being able to lock down monster effects as well as attacks, kind of like Mystic Mind did. But we're not going to be focusing on its effect today. If you want to check that out, we're going to be having a video of it flash up at the end of the video. Now, given that it's a nice Mystic Mind effect, it is nice to see that its price is relatively cheap. They're a little bit under $1. And again, once you hit that dollar mark, with the shipping, you're gonna be looking at about $1.50, $1.75. But once you scroll down, you're actually gonna be seeing some copies for 90 cents. And if you want to get multiple copies from one seller, save you a little bit of money, you're actually able to do that just by scrolling a little bit down. And again, if you pick up 6 from one seller, you're actually gonna be saving that dollar in shipping, basically getting yourself a free card right there. So that's nice, really kind of keep in mind if you're looking into picking up cards off the TCG. But right now, it is extremely affordable to be picking up Performer Pal 5 Rainbow Magician. And if we do see this card teched or played in anti-meta decks to kind of combat the opponent's abilities, make sure they can't use their monster effects or attack, especially against decks that don't use any back row at all, we're going to be seeing an increase in price and hopefully play of 5 Rainbow Magician. So if you're interested in testing it out or teching it at all, definitely, decide to pick that up sooner rather than later. Now, with some support coming out as Jack Atlas Structure Deck is nearing, we're kind of hoping to see as well some Resonator support coming down the pipeline, given that Jack Atlas actually used the Resonators as his tuner choice in his deck. So we're going to be talking about Resonator Call from Ghosts from the Past, given this is the ultra rare version. Yes, there are commons, there are some rares, but let's be honest, we want to bling out our deck right now, okay? So it is actually extremely affordable for these ultra rares. You're looking about $1.60, $1.75 after the shipping. And again, as you scroll down, you have some options to buy multiple copies from one seller, so you can actually get them all in at the same time, as well as save some money. But if we are announced any new Resonator support, especially in that structure deck, we can actually kind of see this card increase in price as well as some of the others going into the future. So if you're expecting any Resonator support at all, or just want to run the deck or a Jack Atlas deck in general, do consider picking up Resonator Call Ultra Rares from Ghost from the Past. Now, it is actually time to heat things up. And as many of you are familiar with, we have been announced a fire pack coming out. Many players are excited. We're actually hoping for a retouch of a bunch of archetypes that's been kind of forgotten, maybe even some new ones. So it is only appropriate we talk about one of the best fire cards, and that is Rekindling. Now, the one we're going to be focusing on primarily in this video is from Turbo Pack. Okay, it is the Turbo Pack Super, and as we saw in the past, the prices of these did dramatically go up, and then they went down a bit again. But they were dropping all the way to $17, maybe $18 a piece, and they have went right back up. So they're a little bit under 30 and have fallen to that 23 and some change mark. And that is actually where we're at right now. So yes, they went up a couple bucks, but you can bet if we get more fire support out of that fire pack with 200 defense fire monsters, you're going to be seeing an increase in price with this Rekindling, okay? I have actually picked up a few at this price myself, so I can practice what I preach, but I do believe we're going to be seeing an increase in price as time goes on, especially if we get any fire support in that pack, again with that 200 defense, given that they can special summon as many of those targets from your graveyard as possible. So kind of keeping on that fire beat, we're going to go into Molten Conduction Field. Now, this is kind of some of the laval support. So we're, again, hopefully we can actually see a few kind of tech cards come out for laval in that fire pack. And if you do, it is going to be to no one's surprise that some of these laval support cards will be seeing an increase in price. We're going to be going over the DT version of Molten Conduction Field, and it's actually kind of interesting looking at this. So right now, if you want to pick one up, it's about $2, $2.50, maybe $1.50 if you pick up both right there after that shipping is included. But once you go down the page, you're going to see a dramatic increase in price with this card, okay? So it goes again from $2 to $2.50. If you pick up 3, you can get them for 2s, but you'll go down to, $3, $4, $5, and then I just want to kind of note that there's only one page of these DT Molten Conduction Fields. So if you are interested in picking up the DT version of this card, I would definitely do so sooner rather than later, or else you're going to be forced to pay those higher prices for this card. Now, if you're not interested in the DTs, we do have the secrets from that hidden arsenal, and we actually do have a little bit more to work from right there. We actually have a stack of 32 at 18 cents a piece, so that's actually relatively cheap. But they do go up in price dramatically as we go down the page as well, from 18 straight to 43 cents, 50 cents, So if you're looking at any of these right now, or hoping that laval support does come from that fire pack, do consider picking these up sooner rather than later, especially the DTs. Kind of again, keeping with that fire beat, next up is Laval Volcano Handmaiden. And again, we're going to be focusing on the DT version of that card. Now, it has a few more options than the Molten Conduction Field and actually has 2 pages worth of prices, but much like the Conduction Field, we have some right there. If you pick up 1, it's a little bit under $2. If you pick up 2, it's like, I think it's like $1.30 a piece or something like that. But once you start going down the page, it immediately jumps to about $2, even some $3 ones going here. And then on the next page, it just grows up dramatically. So again, if you think that laval support is going to be coming out, Handmaiden being one of the main cards, as well as the Molten Conduction Field, now is the time to strike on these prices. And again, just kind of finishing up the fire support and the laval support in general, we got Laval Cannon from DT6, and no surprise, we're seeing a similar trend of these DTs. You got some for $2 down here, especially if you get 3, because you'll shave off that dollar shipping. But once you go down, you hit the $3, $4 mark, and you're actually just kind of forced into that 3 and some change, 4 and some change dollar price tag. And there's only one page of the DT Laval Cannon. So guys, if you're interested in any of this fire support, want to pick up the DT laval support in hopes that we are going to be seeing some support coming out in that fire pack for them, do so sooner rather than later. Because if any support gets announced, you can bet these are all going to be gone. You'll be paying quite the premium on them in the future. Now we're going to kind of switch it up. Some new card coming out, and that is Generator Boss of Shadows from Photon Hypernova. Now, for the Generator fans out there, you guys probably have already picked up your copies, but for those who have not actually kind of been familiarized with this card, it actually has quite a unique quick effect where you can actually tribute it if it's been Exceed summoned, and then you can actually bring out one of the other Generator Boss Monster Exceeds from your extra deck and start attaching materials from any board or graveyard to it up to the number of materials this card actually had. And then not only does it have a nice interruption effect, it has a nice price tag right now, okay? We're seeing them under $1, slightly, under $2 once you attach that dollar shipping, and we do see some sellers selling multiple copies of them as well. So if you're interested in this card for your Generator deck, or do you think that they're going to be getting any more support, do consider picking them up right now. And then kind of following suit, we do have the Exceed you would summon off of the Boss of Shadows, and that is the Boss of Eternity. And again, because the Shadows effect, you're taking monsters off their board or in their graveyard, attaching them straight onto Eternity, then using Eternity to essentially get as a draw effect and then attach effect as well. But because the Boss of Shadows coming out a little bit ago and then being announced before that, we do see an increase in the secret rare price here of the Boss of Eternity. So it was a little bit under $1. Now it's sitting about above $1. So you're going to be paying essentially, again, a little bit more than $2 once you start tacking on the shipping. But we have quite the variety as well to choose from. So there's no real shortage of this card. But if people start using it, or if generators get any more support, as they potentially can in the future, given that they just gave us a new Exceed, and then that Exceed does specifically say non-fairy Exceed monsters. Right now, this is the only one we are working with, but in the future, it wouldn't be surprising if we get another one, and that would increase the value of both these cards in general. But again, from the Photon Hypernova, we actually have Ice Jade Agarine, okay? Probably butchered the name, that's okay. We got the Ice Jade Synchro itself, and it's actually been overlooked primarily due that it needs a water tuner, okay? But its effect is definitely something to not overlook. As a quick effect, you can actually activate it, okay? Base up monsters you control cannot be destroyed or banished by opponent's card effects this turn. That's pretty good. Then, if you activate this effect in response to your opponent's card effect or activation, your opponent's effect activation, and your opponent has cards with that name on their field or in the graveyard, you can banish those cards. So it actually has some spot removal. Then, if a card or cards is banished by your opponent's card effect, while this card is in your graveyard except during the damage step, you can special summon this card. So it has protection, it has spot removal, and then it has a self-revive ability. And as we've seen with Kashtira, they're constantly banishing your cards. So if you're able to actually get this card on the board, not only do you have a little bit of protection for your monsters, you have some spot removal, as well as it will keep reviving itself as long as, it's in the graveyard and they keep banishing your cards, which Kashtira just constantly does. Going on with the trend, it does, it has a nice little price tag, about $3 and some change once you pick up one copy, but I do believe it actually can see an increase in price easily, especially if a water tuner comes out that people start teching or start playing to be able to bring out the Ice Jade Synchro monster. And in the future, I would not be surprised if this card does again see an increase in price going forward, so keep that in mind. Now the next two cards, they have seen a slight increase in price, especially the next one, so I do apologize about that, but I do not think they are done yet going up. And it should be to no one's surprise when we're talking about the Red Dragon Archfiend Ghost Rare from Ghost from the Past 2. Now, a lot of players are probably like, well, of course it's going to go up. We got Jack Atlas support. But I think it's going to keep going up from what it already was. For quite a little bit, it was under $30. It wasn't too long that it was under $30, but it definitely did dip below that $30 price tag. And since then, and since Jack Atlas support has been announced, we've been seeing it just constantly going up. It's been slightly tapered right there at that $43 price tag. And that's kind of sitting at that right now, 43, 44, 45 bucks. And I do not think this card is actually done going up in price. Now, yes, it's a little bit more expensive for some especially, but given this is the last of the 5Ds Dragon to be Ghost Rare, completing a bunch of people's collections of the 5Ds Ghost Rare Dragons, I think we're going to be seeing this card go up in the future, not only from collection, but once the Jack Atlas structure deck does come out. We even see more Seeker support coming out too down the pipeline, so that's just really good. Honestly, there's just a lot of factors going into this card just going up in the future. And yeah, once you get past that $43, $44 price tag, you go into the 50s, 55, and then honestly, it does kind of like skip right over the 60 and go straight into $70 price tags, okay? So I do believe if you did miss that $30 price tag like I did, it's kind of rough, but I would definitely consider picking up the Ghost Rare Red Dragon Archfiend if you already have it and are interested. Now, last up on the Market Watch is Evil Swarm Ophion. Now, this card actually did see a top in an Evil Swarm deck recently, and that shouldn't surprise players because given that Kashtira are level 5 or higher monsters that special summon constantly, and Ophion blocks level 5 or higher monster special summoning, this card is an amazing out and counter to the Kashtira meta right now. And then we actually have seen Forbidden Lance seeing a lot of play in the metagame with all the Book of Moons and Book of Eclipses and stuff being played. So with Evil Sworn Ophion, it actually can detach and instantly add itself the Infestation spell or trap card. And with Infestation Pandemic, it is essentially a lance for all your Evil Swarm monsters. So not only do you get a block to the Kashtira, but you get an instant out to make sure that their spell cards will not be ridding your board of the Ophion. And then once you're out of the Exceed materials, you just go right into Zeus, okay? But that's not why we're here today. We're here for the Market Watch of Ophion. And it is actually pretty slim. We literally have 5 sellers with 7 available on the market right now, as low as literally $13.45, going up to about $16 to $17 right there. But again, if players start using Evil Swarm Ophion and Dax, or start using Evil Swarms in general just to out the Kashtira meta, you can expect to see this card dramatically increase. And yes, it has gone up in the past, but we're talking about $12, okay? So it's not that much of an increase compared to what we can see, given that there's only 5 available on the market right now. So if you're liking any Evil Swarms, definitely consider picking them up sooner rather than later. And again, guys, that is the Market Watch. If you've gotten anything from this video, consider buying any of the cards from any of this Market Watch or any of the other Market Watches, do smash that subscribe button. If even a few more % of you guys hit the subscribe button, our numbers will fly up dramatically, and hopefully we can get monetized soon, which would be really amazing for the channel. And again, if you're wanting some other videos, such as the 5 Rainbow Magician video, or even some more Market Watches that are going to be flying up right there, we're going to be having them fly up for you, easy to click on. And again, guys, smash that subscribe button, but most important, stay safe, have a good night, and suck it, nerds.